Therapists and psychiatrists of Reddit. What is the best/most uplifting recovery journey you've witnessed? Coming into this one late, but I work with children in social services as a trauma therapist/teacher. So the speep I see is pretty horrific sometimes. I had a kid a few years ago who will stick with me forever. PTSD at 4 years old from seeing some really awful things. Things that damn adults into lifetimes of isolation and depression. And my job was to try to get this kid equipped to handle a kindergarten classroom. A little info here: when young children experience trauma, one way they may communicate this is through mimicking their experiences. Sometimes in social interactions. Sometimes in play. This child had this symptom. Essentially, I had a 4-year-old acting like a psychopathic, abusive, alcoholic grown man. Every day we documented the bruises and marks he left on me. For 2 years he bit, spat at, shat on, hit, kicked, and slapped me. Some days I felt like I was getting to him. Most days I went into the staff bathroom and either punched the paper towel dispenser, or went home and drank myself to sleep. He spat a used Band-Aid into my mouth, threw his own speep into my eyes, bit through my wrist, which, yeah, was all every bit as horrific as it sounds. But I kept trying. Everyone did. We loved him. We never let him know how stressed he made us or how much we had to brace and prepare ourselves for sessions with him. We never told him that we dreaded some days, knowing we were just too tired but had to do it all anyways. 5 days a week. Intensive outpatient care. And it felt like we were getting nowhere. And that was it. He came to me that way. And he left me that way. The day he graduated the program I cried. Got heavily drunk. And prayed his kindergarten teacher would show him half the love and grace I'd been able to. Only a few months into kindergarten that teacher reached out to me. We had an ROI from his IEP process. But I never thought I'd hear anything after school started. I usually don't. And she said he was doing amazing. The medication we hadn't seen work had started to balance things. The skills we taught over and over and over and over, he was using them. He had friends. Where everyone had been scared of him before. He played with other children. He colored. He walked into school happy to be there and left happy to go home. She was describing to me a child I had never met, but had helped create. Working with littles is discouraging, because I often don't see the fruits of my labor. If I'm lucky, I can help identify ongoing traumas and put a stop to them so that the next specialist can treat it. If I'm even luckier, the child may be able to function in kindergarten better because of something I said or did correctly. But I usually don't know. If I'm unlucky, the grooming is so deep and so hurtful that the children give me very little to go off of. And I send them to school with little more than a lying parent and a wrist-thick binder of documentation that led nowhere. And my buddies on speed dial with CPS do their best. They do. But there's only so much we can do when a family really wants to hide something. I have to remind myself often that my job is really just to plant a seed of healing. And that I'm doing it for the functioning adult they will get to be someday, whom I will never meet. So that their middle school teachers never realize what a broken child they had to be at this time. And their future spouses and children benefit from the love they've learnt and skills they've had mentored into them. But peep if it isn't hard some days. Most days. All of them. Peep if it isn't so goddamn hard. I'm glad I do this. That all of us do. Social services is savage and unforgiving. We need more good people in it. I hope the kids I'm helping benefit and turn into the recovery journeys everyone here is describing, but unfortunately, I rarely ever really know. Edit to add. Thank you all so much for the kind replies. It means a lot to me. You're all being so positive and uplifting. It means more than you know. What a way to start my morning by seeing all of those comments. Know that I'm no special person in any way. There's thousands of us doing what I do. We all have the means to make a difference. And we should all try to do so in whatever place we're planted. This is just where I do my work. You can promote change and growth whenever you do. No place is too insignificant. You're possibly one of the bravest of people. Therapist here. Withholding information for privacy reasons. Kids for me are really rewarding and inspiring to work with. One kid growled and yelled at me. Wouldn't talk to me at all. Fought and stole from kids. He had severe trauma of all kinds at a really young age and wasn't given a chance. Refused to attend classes at school. By the end he did a complete 180. Not just because of counseling but also great support from the school. But his transformation was incredible. He went from yelling and growling out of anger to verbalizing hurt it stemmed from. It was truly amazing. Thank you for what you did. I was one of those kids. Anger management problems. Prone to fits of violence. Sometimes getting to that primal uncontrollable level with growling and complete emotional breakdown. It took years to work through all of it and build healthy defense mechanisms for myself when I feel those emotions welling up. But the first thing that really fixed me was when my mom, who's also a therapist, sat me down at an age I could begin to express myself and just listen. To just sit there and listen to a kid explain why they're angry or sad or afraid will oftentimes help the kid understand for the first time themselves. At that age we haven't developed reason or logic of any real level. And you need someone to help you figure out why it is you're feeling those things you're feeling. So thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. I always love hearing stories where people thrive in the way you did. It's also a great reminder for me that sometimes just listening is enough. I forget that sometimes and feel like I need to offer something to my clients at times. One that stands out most was a woman who had used heroin, alcohol, and crack for all of her adult life. She was homeless, had never really held a job, and had multiple legal problems due to her drug use. At 50-something, she had decided to get clean and did so for several months. Until her child was murdered. She had a brief relapse, but got clean again. In 4 years, she sorted out her legal issues, reconnected with her family, left her abusive partner, obtained her own housing, volunteered regularly, and completed a 4-year degree. I can't imagine having gone from a complete street lifestyle, enduring the worst tragedy one can imagine newly sober, and then entering and excelling in academia. Honestly, it's not the huge stories that stand out. It is little things that people accomplish during their recovery. A person meeting their grandchild for the first time because they've gotten clean. A person that always wanted to go to the circus but had never gone because money always went to drugs. A person finishing school or actually keeping a job. A person leaving an abusive relationship and excelling. A person finally reaching out to family and getting an answer back or kind words after years of broken promises. When I was using heroin, I knew a woman who had her master's degree framed and hanging on the wall. She had a knack for interior design, and seemed to really care about other people, as long as she was well had dope. This was a smart, resourceful woman that had a bright future. She also shot up heroin and meth daily, smoked a pack a day, and kept a pint of bottom-shelf whiskey in her purse that she would take pulls of throughout the day. She had an 8-year-old son that her mother took care of, and she only saw once a month or so. Just before I got clean, she got pregnant again. The pregnancy was into the 2nd month when she knew for sure, and she'd been using all these substances heavily during that time. She told me that she was pregnant when she began to show. Maybe 3 months in or so, when she told me. We had just picked up from our dealer. We were in her bathroom, and she was sitting on the toilet trying to find a vein to inject a mixture of heroin and meth. But she was having trouble as most of her good veins had long ago given up the ghost. As an active user at the time, I'm ashamed to say that I really didn't care. I needed to get well myself. As my nose dripped and the specter of dope sickness loomed in the back of my mind, I assumed that she'd aborted or, more likely, miscarry. But she said she wanted another child. She was keeping it. And that she'd given up drinking and smoking. Well, she still had a cigarette here and there. But she was trying. Yeah. Right. I thought to myself, you literally just pushed the plunger down on 60 ccs of dope and ice. But at least you stopped drinking 2 months in. I got clean soon after, not because of this situation, but for my own reasons. I got a call from her a few months later, in which she said she was clean and doing well. I hope that was and is still true. That was over a year ago. And I believe she carried the baby to term. I drive by her house sometimes. I've seen her dog outside and caught a glimpse of her once or twice. I think that I saw some baby stuff. But I'm not sure. If the baby was born, I hope the drugs didn't affect it too badly. I hope that she's still clean. And I hope she is able to finally make use of that master's in social work, so that it isn't just a piece of paper hanging on a wall anymore. Undefined. Honestly, coming off opioids can be really hard on a pregnant woman and can cause miscarriage because of the intensity of the withdrawal. That's why sometimes methadone doctors keep pregnant women on methadone, because it's actually safer, oddly. Of course, it's better to not be on anything. But if a person can't stop using if they stop their methadone, it's better to stay on the methadone with an even dose and keep their life together. I'm a recovering alcoholic and I thought I had it rough until I met a few withdrawing opiate addicts while in rehab. Peep. That. One lady in therapy put it this way. First you're scared that it's going to kill you. Then you're scared that it isn't. I've been awake at 4 a.m. sobbing into my pillow. But I've never seen anything like a person coming off benzos. Honestly. Peep that. The sheer mental fortitude it must take is astonishing. Leave a like and a comment if you liked the video. Check out more Reddit related video, I am posting them daily. Subscribe to see more Reddit content.